Hi, I'm Brad, and today I'll be talking about Afghanistan with my fellow classmates, Jonathan and Micah. Afghanistan is a country in the Middle East, located near Asia and Africa. Their government is just like ours, with a judiciary branch, a legislative branch, and an executive branch. Right now, Afghanistan has a very bad economy. 35% of all people are unemployed. This is much worse than the American unemployment rate, which is currently at 7.8%. Also, 42% of all Afghanistans are in poverty and make only $1 a day. They also have extremely poor education. This is because many of the schools were destroyed during the war, many teachers do not have adequate qualifications, and the curriculum at schools fails to teach children the basics of reading and math. Only 28% of Afghanistans are literate or can read. This may be why many are unemployed or in poverty. Afghanistan is also the 15th least developed country. Because of this, they have very bad healthcare. The average life expectancy of an Afghanistan is only 49.72 years old. In America, the average life expectancy is 78.2 years old. As you can see, Afghanistan is in a very bad shape.
The capital of Afghanistan is Kabul. Kabul was ruled by Soviet forces until 1988. During the Cold War, the Russians and US was in a land grab and arms race. While the US created weapons, the Soviets expanded west. The Soviets tried to get closer and closer to the US, so the Soviets started settling around Afghanistan. The people of Afghanistan started getting scared, so they formed a group named the Mujahideen. The Mujahideen had old bolt-action and semi-automatic weapons. They also scavenged Soviet weapons, but that still wasn't enough. So, the US sent weapons to Afghanistan just so the Mujahideen could fend off the Soviets. It seems that the US was trying to help the Mujahideen, but the US was actually trying to make sure that the Soviets don't come any closer. After a couple years of war, the Mujahideen finally gave up. The Soviets now controlled Afghanistan. But about 1.5 years later, the Cold War ended and the Soviets pulled out and went back to their homes.
Afghanistan is a very targeted country. Many countries such as Russia, England, and of course the United States target this country. If only I had something to demonstrate this. Oh, I know, come on. Pretend that this map here is Afghanistan and I am an invading country. What usually results when an invading country goes into Afghanistan is it just walks right over Afghanistan, as if Afghanistan has no power. There was definitely some feedback from the country. Everyone in Afghanistan was mad at the country, but they were smart enough to realize that fighting back would just result in war. However, Osama bin Laden was very mad and wanted America to get a taste of their own medicine, if you get my drift. So, he gathered up a few people and formed a group called Al-Qaeda. From 1996 to 2001, the Taliban ruled Afghanistan. As you may have heard, their rules were very strict. During this time, girls did not have an education, and many public executions were made. Many fun activities, such as kite flying, were outlawed, and computers, television, and music were banned. Men were required to wear beards because if they didn't, they would be killed.
On September 11, 2001, 19 members of Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 American airlines. They flew them into significant areas on the East Coast, such as the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and the last plane was heading towards the White House. The war began on October 7, 2001.
After the 9/11 attacks, the Taliban did not want to give up Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden for that matter. So, the Americans were forced to bomb Taliban training camps. The Taliban lost rule of the capital, Kabul, in November 2001, and in December they had completely lost rule of Afghanistan.
The American and UN airplanes bombed Al-Qaeda training camps. The Tora Bora Mountains was the most targeted area. They were the primary target since they housed over 2,000 men, a hospital, and many arms and ammunition. Throughout the late fall, there were battles in Mazar-e-Sharif and Kabul. Mazar-e-Sharif was taken after a 90-minute battle and was important due to its proximity to 2 major airports. Kabul was the capital city, and Americans defeated the Taliban there in a 15-minute fight. Throughout the early winter of 2001, there were battles in Kunduz, Kala Ajangi and Kandahar. From 2003 to 2005, the Taliban continued to attack. They traveled in groups of 5 to 10 men. They targeted U.S. forces by using rockets, explosives, and suicide bombs. They used guerrilla tactics, which is a form of warfare involving tactics like ambushes. In the next 5 years, the United States, the UN, and NATO began driving the terrorists back. In 2009, President Obama increased the amount of U.S. troops, deploying 30,000 in Afghanistan. On March 2, 2011, the Navy SEALs went on a covert operation in association with the CIA. They found Osama bin Laden, attacked his compound, and killed him during the fighting. Here's a quick scene of what happened. Hey, there he is! After the death of Osama bin Laden, President Obama began to withdraw the American troops from Afghanistan. The Taliban and the terrorists were the cause of 76% of all civilian deaths. This is because civilians were often the target of Taliban attacks. The war destroyed homes and separated families. Many women and children were injured and even killed during the fighting. Lastly, many of the men were forced to fight with the Americans against the terrorists. This shows that Afghanistan is really in need of a hero.
Al-Qaeda is still currently existing. Ayman al-Zawahiri, who was originally from Egypt, is the current leader of Al-Qaeda. He joined Al-Qaeda when his family was killed in an attack by the American military forces in Afghanistan.
The people of Afghanistan are in really need of a hero. They have been invaded twice by 2 powerful countries within the last half of a century. The terrorist group Al-Qaeda has taken over many of their cities and the country's economy is in shambles. Lastly, they are so undeveloped that they should grow and become a more civilized country.
Oh, get down! You are not.
Country that needs to grow seaweed. An undeveloped country is what they need to grow. What? Oh yeah. Grow anything unless it's like trees or